Hello, it's me, it's Michael Forrest, talking to you about what I've been doing, if you care, and also talking to my future self, maybe. It's just sort of me keeping track of my progress. So by sort of recording my progress each week, I'm hoping to be able to have a bit more of a sort of better document my progress on everything. I had some time off, so I'm just coming back from that. So as you can see from here, last week I worked 30 hours, 25 minutes. So usually this would include the Friday time as well. So I didn't work Friday, I didn't work Monday. And as you can see, it's not nearly as, because what I can do is I can show you the last one. This is what my update looked like last time. So there was loads of different projects going. But this time, mostly just one project, Donegood. So what I decided was I'm going to come back. I'm just going to slowly add in tasks back into my list of things I want to do. And just not stress out too much about it. So what I was going to do was take you through some of the bug fixes I've been working on, and this could be the most boring thing in the world ever, but I'm hoping if I stick Elixir, React, all that kind of thing in the in the description of this video, then maybe some people will discover my work through this, because it's not really very discoverable otherwise. So let's have a look at what we've got here. So the first thing I've talked about is see all tasks and enable filtering. So because the thing that happens when you first sign up, and I'm just gonna So when you're a new user of this app, you're not gonna have many tasks in you. So you sort of want a way to be able to see everything at once. I think it's almost like coming from a task list app into this new paradigm of doing one thing at a time, which is what we're talking about here. Like coming into something that looks like this, from something that's a task list, I think it's kind of important to be able to see all your stuff. So this is the change that I made. And so if you've got loads of stuff, it becomes possibly less useful, but I just thought I should let people just see their task list in a way that makes sense to start with. So what that means is I've added these, well, this is actually kind of useless here as well, all tasks types, all projects. And the way I've done that, I thought maybe if I just show you the diff, show you the commit. So the main thing is I've got this task lists class. Basically just added this filters thing to it, that when it's changed, it updates a redirect value and then this redirect. So what happens is when I'm on here, when I'm on the list, if I select all projects, we'll see that this has to update here. So it's actually a redirect, so project all instead of project general, let's say, or projects good habits, or let's say changes. Are there any task types in any of these? Okay, so this is what I've implemented. The visually it's not great yet, but yeah, what it does is it uses state to change the value of this redirect variable, which it grabs out of here, and then uses the you know what, this is just terrible, isn't it? React router DOM to do the redirect. So rather than calling browser navigate, we do it in this sort of declarative way, if you can call it that. And then the thing that I had to figure out, it's not actually part. Yeah, the other thing I added into this was the size of these columns is, I realized I probably want to make these resizable at some point, so I implemented just, for now they're values, but they come from, I've got values that come from the Redux context instead of, so that I can potentially allow you to resize columns and things in future. Currently it's It's not resizable, but I just realized to make this form actually like workable, I was going to need to kind of bite that bullet. Let's have a music break. And back to me, and hopefully with better audio, because I just realised that I was echoing music through the thing. Oh, you can see my transparent hair. Next thing up here, what did I just do? Right, so this beta sign-up form with queue jumping by sharing was... So I don't know if you saw Monzo, if you ever saw Monzo when that came out, but... it wasn't. They had this thing where if you invited someone, then it would bump you up the queue. So basically, before you're signed up for this, if you sign up, right, with let's say Dave, let's say Dave at somewhere.com, and let's sign up. Email me, and I'm not a robot. Register. Okay, so you register. It gives you an email confirmation link, which we can simulate by going to localhost sent emails. Confirm my email. No, this screen is still bad. Okay, let's just track that I need to. Fix registration confirmation layout. It's in. So Donegood bug fixes save. Oh, did that work? Oh, I thought I'd fix that bug. See, like the bloody bugs you get. Let's try it through here. Fix confirmation screen layout. Registration confirmation screen layout. Right. So you get that. You go to my password. You just go update. Oh, this is weird. What is this? Edit. Oh, it's redirected me to edit profile. Right. So that's the problem. Oh, because this. What is happening? Sign out. Confirm. Oh, because I needed to sign out first. Okay, so then if we confirm the email, the email address couldn't be confirmed. Right, let's try this again. Someone at somewhere.com. Oh my God. Like, we have to do it through here. We have to do this, we have to do this. I'm not a robot. Register. You need to confirm your email. Copy link address. Let's just make sure, because there's some complications around 27. Right, email address has been confirmed. So then when you log in, my lord, right. So now you see there are 21 people ahead of you. And if you invite a friend, you go Ron, and you go Ron at somewhere.com, and you go, I'm not a robot. Oh my God. Can I? Send invitation. Right, now the invitation link has been sent. We come back here, we say, oh look, we're number 19. 19 people ahead. You invited one of your friends and been bumped up the queue accordingly. Now, the calculation for the queue bumping was not... It took me a while to figure out. And I had to figure out some Elixir stuff. So if we look in accounts, and if we look at compute queue positions, this is what I came up with. And like always when you're doing stuff like that, it's really important to be able to see what you're doing. And then, so something that I needed to make all this work was going to be a password protected admin users list. So this shows me all the users that have signed up. So this is obviously fake, but these are the active users, and then these are all confirmed. So green means the email was confirmed. Sorry for the stupid words. Yellow means that they were invited by someone else, and you can see who they were invited by. And then like all these grey ones are like unconfirmed people and people that have been invited but haven't confirmed their email. So it was the one I decided, and this wasn't immediately obvious, and then I put this in to show how long ago they registered. So this person registered really recently, but because they've invited 3 people, they're ahead of other people in the queue. And we can see who they've invited, and we can just like see what that all looks like. So what I decided was, okay, only people who have either confirmed their email, or accepted an invitation, which is sent. The invitation is sent through email, so obviously accepting the invitation confirms the email. So they're the only people that are in the queue and that haven't been activated. So that you've got an activated date. So this is calculated, and then I don't want to like So the problem with this was if I just sorted by confirmation date, which it was before, then if I'd be putting, and then just like bumped you up the queue based on the number of invitations, that doesn't take into account the number of other people other people have invited. So every time I calculate this list, I need to look at everybody in the list, which then means that it needs to be a sort of an on-demand process. So it should be calculated whenever a user confirms their email, whenever a user sends an invitation, but I'm not sure, whenever any user accepts an invitation, and when a user is activated. So this is Elixir code that does the recalculation. So it grabs everyone that's waiting, which is anyone that has accepted an email or has their email confirmed and is not activated. So that's the waiting list. And then grabs all of those and then preloads the number of users. So we actually like turn these into concrete objects pretty quickly. So this is not a scalable thing. Like the more users we've got, the longer this will take, which is why it's like it only happens when something changes. And then we sort by this function, which is basically the index when it's sorted by date minus the number of users they've invited. And then in future, I'll probably change that to the number of confirmed invited users rather than just like all the people that they've invited. So then we grab that list. This is piping in the results of each thing, and then we take that list and then just update each user. So again, it's not like a mass update operation. With a new queue position cache, and it's important to label that as queue position cache so that you know that it's not a source of truth, it's just a temporary storage thing. And then now that I've got that against each user, then I can tell them where they are in the queue when they look at the thing. So that was more difficult than I would necessarily have expected. But so I got all of that figured out. Let's have some music. Queen's Park for you indefinitely. I'll show you 2 more things. So one that I wanted to share was I wanted a captcha on the registration invitation just to stop people spamming user invites or like sign-ups, which I've already seen. It doesn't take much. Like that happens pretty easily. You'll see that also. I've kind of sent myself an email when something happens. But yeah, so the spam stuff. There is a plugin. So if we look at deps, config. No, not config. That was probably a bad thing to. Oh no, it's not, because it's all coming from the environment. Mix. Sorry. So there's a Recaptcha. What do you call them in? What do you call them? I wanted to say gems. There's a Recaptcha dep available, like package available. But to make that work, so I'm using POW. This user login thing, which I've found quite difficult to extend, and it's taken me a while to figure, even though it's sort of more or less, there's custom control. I basically needed to be able to do controller callbacks. Oh no, it's not even in here. It's that's the wrong one. Controller callbacks. Power controller callbacks. So I needed to where do I do this? I should really be looking at the I'll tell you what I ended up. Yeah, so I ended up spending a lot of time doing that override thing, which is, I should just mention, that's how I managed to like send an invite, and how I managed to actually like do this compute queue positions thing. So you have to configure. Controller callbacks, and then that controller callbacks to work in POW needs to call these extension things, although I think I saw something that you can make it do this, but if these get lost, the extension controller callbacks, then other stuff breaks if you put in this custom control. But then you can just put before respond and before process. So for example, so I ended up not using before process, but I ended up using, so before it sends the results of invitation controller create, so that's creating the indication, then it goes update queue, which is down here, and then it computes the queue positions, and then it sends me an email. But I thought I needed to do that sort of thing, but then it turned out router, I actually needed to make a custom plug, which just did the to Recaptcha. So we've got a Recaptcha plug here. I don't like how it's like highlighting everything. So this Recaptcha plug, which then we insert into the pipeline of registration and invitations. So basically this Recaptcha is inserted into these so usually you'd use POW extension routes, but by declaring this first, we're just overriding a couple of these now, which felt a bit weird. But then we jump into validate Recaptcha, and basically this will insert it will grab this G Recaptcha response, which is created by the confirmation thing. Let's so in the register, like this thing is created by POW by the Recaptcha thing. So if we look at the regist new, we just call this recaptcha.template.display. We're not getting colors on that, which then creates this Recaptcha response. And then we can use this Recaptcha verify, which comes from the library. And then if it's okay, we just return the connection. If it's not okay, I say, please confirm that you're a human being, would ya? Before anything else, which I didn't know, like, I honestly, like, my Phoenix Elixir skills still aren't brilliant, but so I knew it was a bit hacky, but so basically I have to render the right, because it's used in 2 different places. If it's the invitation screen, it needs to, but I didn't want to lose the user's details that they'd typed in already. So by just redirecting them or refreshing, I decided, well, I just ended up rendering a different template and sort of detecting, like, if it's password, then I'm assuming that that's the registration form, and if it's got email in it, then I'm assuming it's the invitation form, and then rendering the appropriate template. So that's a bit messy and not my, but it was less insecure than some previous iterations of this. So that was that. And then the other thing I was going to show was make a reusable duration editor. And this, I think I did I realized I had a few different places where there's not a good, like, duration control, and there was a few different places where I needed one. So I just thought, well, let's build a little duration control. So forms, stories. So I started with Storybook and said, okay, a duration editor that takes, so I can say one that's, you can set the number of days. It's going to be days 1, and on change it does this. So these are some different iterations, and I can show you what that looks like by going yarn Storybook. Oops, yarn Storybook. So this should pop up hopefully in the right window. So I am using Storybook sometimes when I remember. Like, I'm hoping that this video, if you do get through it, it's not rehearsed. It's something I'm sort of knocking off on a Friday afternoon, partly for my own, reference, but hopefully someone, like, finds it useful. Here's the stories. So basically, here's what the control is. I don't know why it's aligned to the wrong side. Everything's difficult. All right, repeat we've got a control, it limits the thing, you can clear it, and you can, like, go back to this. So I thought this would be a decent UX for it. And then, so I built it in there. Basically, it's a React component that renders out the different fields, and it's got the clear button and the check button, and then these fields, it's done this way so that I can check the props against this thing rather than sort of being a separate component. So it basically checks and I'm using TypeScript for all this. So these are, like, are these things enabled? The value is a duration value, which is defined in here. I've got an empty label on change, and this just makes it all autocomplete nicely. And then we put the prefix label. We generate fields if needed. So you won't get anything if this isn't. So that sort of only shows the ones that it wants, and then it grabs the field value, and then it does something smart depending on if it's undefined. It will, because the HTML form components will want strings all the time, but I want to be able to work in terms of, like, undefined and optional values when I'm in my TypeScript. So this sort of handles all that. And then we've also got, like, min and max values, which I sort of chucked in some, okay, minutes should be, can't have more than 24 hours, can't have more than 60 minutes, which, yeah, there's some stuff. And then I'm using the pluralize library to sort of show the value there. So in fact, like, if it's 1 hour, it'll just say hour, 0 minutes, 1 minute. It looks okay. Like, just so you know, like, it does look tell me this is not... Oh yeah, we're in the wrong place. It does look all right here. And also it works in here as well. So that's the other thing I was going to show you, this thing. So yeah, we made a little duration component because I realized I needed it everywhere. And then the other thing I did was this new version of the scheduler, which partly the main. So I've done this new manager screen, which to try and make it look decent when you haven't got much stuff. So just so you know, like the previous version of this, if I look at an old, where is it? I'm looking for it. I think I would have talked about it in this one, wouldn't I? I'm pretty sure I saw it. Well, you can actually see, like, I've done a few fixes to just the layout here. So this is sort of the first use is much more simplified now. So it had this funny like time, and this was a bit more busy, and down here was a bit more busy. So now it's just, I just wanted to minimize the number of things here, and I wanted to be able to show this. No one's going to want to watch this video, but I'm going to just persevere nevertheless. Is this the one? Oh, this is... Yeah, this is how it looked for a while, but then I updated it. So am I on the right one? 15th of May, that's ages ago. We want to look at... This needs to be in the other order. That's what's happened there. So it did look like that. And now it looks like can we see? Oh God! This is like the least professional closed player player in history. Okay, so yeah, here's one where I talk about. So I tried it like this for a little bit, and then I changed it to be more like this, which looks like this. But now I've changed it again because when there was only one thing there, and I didn't like the horizontal scrolling, so now it looks more like this, which in a sort of case where you've got tons of stuff, looks like this. So here's all my projects, and I've got things like you can hide. So then it says save. It says, oh, you've got some unscheduled tasks. So as I move these over, it's gonna like remove it from this list, right? You see, but if I show all, then they've got little ticks on them. So that was another change I made. This video is a disaster, frankly, and it's 28 minutes long, and I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to double check that there's nothing else I want to talk about. Make a reusable duration editor. Task editor flow is not clear yet, so that's what that was. I still think this isn't quite perfect, but it's I do think it's getting there. And also I grayed out things from days that are before today, so it's easier to find the stuff, because this is sort of irrelevant now for this week. And I think it's kind of works, but this still feels quite busy to me. But anyway, that's done. Donegood, if you're interested in trying it out, it's going to be available soon. You can just go to donegood.app. It tells you all about itself. You can register, get on the waiting list, or drop me an email if you've watched these videos and you're interested in sort of being an early user, because it's not a long waiting list yet. I'm going to leave it at that and say goodbye before we hit half an hour. Bye!